eyes were holden, that they could not know him. Their eyes were what? Were holden. There are some people in your ministry today, because they cannot see the things that God is planning to do through your life. They can't see it. That's the reason why they are behaving the way they do. So when you pastor people, part of what you should pray for every day is that God should open their eyes. There are some things you don't have the vocabulary to preach to people to understand. The only time they can understand it is if their eyes highlight. So until the eyes of men open to recognize you, you must develop immunity to being despised. They will definitely despise you because their eyes are holden. They cannot know you. They cannot know you. I was on the train. I was trying to head to Kaduna because I wanted to see my father-in-law. Now there was a lady sitting by my side, and from the discussion she was making, I believe she's born again, because she made a phone call for like 45 minutes. The phone call was a nuisance, was a complete nuisance. I was trying to focus my spirit to I was going to preach on a crusade, so I needed all the help in heaven. I needed all the help on earth. But that lady was short of help. She was not help. Made a call for 45 minutes, and she ensured that I heard every part of the discussion. And then when the call finished, I said, let this credit finish. When the credit now finished, she now started singing. Now, at that point, I was looking for soberness in the atmosphere to pick what was on the mind of God. She will always do the opposite. For 2 hours, I was afflicted on the train until I arrived at the terminus. Then we were disembarking. That's when she discovered. I mean, she knew that what she did was embarrassing. So when she discovered me, she just ran away. There was no need to greet because the eyes, you will behave funny. If your eyes are not open, you will behave very, 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 very funny. You must, as a messenger of light, you must develop that immunity such that when people do not recognize you in the capacity of the glory with which the Lord has called you, you can handle it, you can manage it, because you are going to see that a lot. All right, so that was their condition. And he said unto them, what manner of communications are these that ye have one to another, and as ye walk and are sad? And one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering said unto him, art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which are come to pass there in these days? And he said unto them, what things? And they said unto him, please, I'd like you to get their responses, because these are responses of men that are in darkness. They have not been healed of their darkness. When you hear, Job says, David said, for thou will light my candle. Lord will enlighten my darkness. When you hear that prayer point, it's because of this kind of situation. What things? And they said unto him concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. That means in the eyes of God, he was a prophet. In the eyes of the people, he was a prophet. And how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death and have crucified him. Now, there's a critical comment he makes in verse 21 that I need to draw your attention to. So his initial response is like the storyline of the things that have happened. What he wants to say in verse 21 is his own personal conviction. That one is not the public opinion. Give me 21. In 21 he says, but we trusted. that it had been he should have redeemed Israel. So now this lamentation is a proof of the fact that he doesn't believe. We trusted that it will be him that will bring the deliverance. So he no longer sees the deliverance in sight. A blind man that has not encountered light can never see what God is doing, because the methods that God is going to employ to achieve what he wants to do is going to be completely oblivious to the blind man. The methods. It is because of this inability to see what God is doing that the blind man is going to be outside of what God is doing. He said, we trusted that it had been he that would have delivered Israel. That's the first thing. He is blind to God's strategy of achieving his agenda. And then he goes on and says, and beside all this, today is the third day since these things were done. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre, and they found not his body. They came saying that they had seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive. And certain of them which were with us went to the sepulchre and found it even so as the women had said, but him they saw not. The second problem here is that the guys lack faith. The women came from the sepulchre, and the way they described the sepulchre was suggestive of the fact that he had risen. And to confirm that, they also had encounters with angels, and that consolidated their suspicion. And when they went and told the story, the guys that went to check the sepulchre out saw that the account that the women gave was true. But these guys could not believe. They had a faith problem. A man that has not received light will always be outside of the arena of faith. That's the second symptom of a man that lacks light. All he will see will be the challenges. All he will see will be the negative situations. All he will see are the orchestrations, the things that have been captured in circumstances and situations. But he will never be able to see the hand of God. So this is Jesus' response. Then he said unto them, O fools. That's the first thing. You will find out the kind of rebuke that God gives us if we call someone a fool in the Bible. Because it's only God that has the full scope of information that can authorize him to call someone a fool. And there are a few times in the Bible where, about 7 times in the Gospels, where God calls men fools. You still remember that guy that had a great harvest? And I don't want to go into all of that analysis. I did that before some time ago. He called these ones fools. It means that a man that is blind will be foolish. He will take wrong actions and he will miss out on what God is doing. So the first thing Jesus rebukes is their foolishness. The second thing Jesus rebukes is their lack of faith, slow in heart to believe all the things that the prophets had spoken. Now, this man that is blind will not be able to recognize when prophecies are fulfilled. You will not be able to recognize it. So in the prophetic company, it is tantamount to an error for us to have men that lack light, because they are going to be foolish. Their heart will be slow to believe, and they will not be able to recognize when prophecy